Hello, everybody. Jeff and Andrew with Link Realty, and we wanted to share some tips and ideas on how to have a successful open house. We will also post a link to this video that takes you to our open house guide that you can either download on your laptop or print off and have with you at your next open house. So we'll get started with preparing for your open house. Jeff?
Yeah, so the one key is just picking the right open house. So it'll be important to have, a newer listing as opposed to something that's been on the market for a year. Something that looks good and has nice photos online will be beneficial. Choosing an area that you're comfortable with and know and can talk about, the neighborhood schools or shopping or amenities that are close by. So location, price, days on market, condition are big factors in choosing the right property. You'll also want to post it in MLS early so that it'll have time to syndicate to all the other websites like Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, etc., to make sure the public knows that it's available for an open house. So most of the buyers that aren't engaged with a realtor are going to be looking in those platforms, and those are really the people you're trying to meet and capture and hopefully get in your car to sell a house to. So another good tip would be putting up an open Sunday rider out on the sign, preferably a couple days early, and include the time frame when possible. We've got some riders here for Saturday or Sunday, 1 to 3 or 2 to 4. So those are available for you. Just come grab one and run it over to the house and put it in the yard. I know you do some pointers as well.
Sometimes what we'll do is we'll have pointers with the actual time on the pointer. And we like to put those out on a Thursday or Friday before the open house. That'll help draw in traffic as people are going home or getting ready for the weekend. They may pass by it and drive by the home to see if it's open. And it'll give them the time of the Sunday open or Saturday.
And we'll also have Alex post those open houses, so make sure she knows about them. She'll do a nice little open Sunday or Saturday post for the weekend on Facebook and Instagram that we can tag you. It'll show up in your timeline or you can share it. But that's just an extra way to get some extra exposure for being out in the field.
And you'll definitely want to do your homework before the open house. And we suggested doing that homework well before your open house starts. That would be doing some MLS analysis, making sure that you pull some options for people that might walk into the home, some options either above or below that price point. We know most buyers are probably shopping too high for what they can actually afford. You'll want to do things like read the seller's disclosure. You definitely don't want to get caught off guard with a question. It'll be there at the home in the home book, but you should probably have an understanding of what that seller's disclosure has to say. And then you'll want to print off some takeaways with your branding. So you'll want to have some pre-MLS information. Maybe that neighborhood, print off the pre-MLS or a surrounding area to that neighborhood, and making sure you have that with your brand. Once you're ready for the open house, you want to make sure, I think this next one's you schedule.
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, a couple more things you might want to do is for sure print off some flyers from MLS. The customer full version is great. Sometimes it bleeds into a second page, so I usually ditch that one and just do the first page. But you don't want to rely on the listing agent's marketing materials because it's going to have their contact info on there. So print off an extra, 20 or so customer format MLS sheets to hand out to clients and people that would walk in. And be sure to schedule a showing in showing time. Not only will you maybe need the combo or something to get in or the showing instructions, but it'll also give the seller a reminder that you're going to be there and give you an opportunity to provide feedback after the open house.
And once you're prepared, you want to know what to bring to your open house. One tip that I used to do when I did a lot of open houses was just have sort of an open house ready kit in my trunk. Things that you might need, like a tape measure or pieces of paper and notepads. You might even want some of your pointers in that.
We have props.
Pointers in that ready kit, or sign writers in that ready kit. Maybe some of your business cards. So that might be just a tip to have in the back of your car or your trunk, just so that you're ready for your open houses. But you definitely want the pointers on the day of your open house. You want your open house sign writer for your sign, because once it's actually open, you want to go ahead and put this sign writer on the sign.
And the more the merrier on pointers. Honestly, a lot of people that are really successful at them bring a dozen pointers and put them on every way to get into the neighborhood, or put them 100 yards down the road before the turn instead of at the turn. So people have a chance to go, oh, I might want to turn there, instead of, oh, shit, I just missed it. But that would be a good thing.
You also want, just so you know, for your kits, I would invest in there. You can buy these at Office Depot or other office supply stores, but a flyer stand and a business card holder. You don't want to be like every other realtor out there and they just put their business cards on the table and lay out a few flyers. You want to at least have your stuff stand out while you're there, because your goal is to have them take your information.
Yeah, and you've got to capture it as well. The olden days, it was the sign-in sheet that nobody wanted to touch or get near. We found that these feedback cards are a lot more effective at getting some feedback and client information. So we provide these too. You got a nice little clipboard, ask a couple questions about the house, what'd you like, and obviously your name, phone number, and email address. So we've got handy dandy clipboards with feedback cards, pens. Usually bring 3 of each, just to have them available. So as different parties walk in, you can hand them to them and just say, hey, the seller would love some feedback on what you thought about the property. If you wouldn't mind filling this out, that'd be great.
And then for safety, I think Jeff has a sign here that we always recommend you put up a smile, you're on camera sign. And we will have those available for you here at the office, or they're in the drive on Google Drive, and you can print those off yourself if you're at home. And some other ideas, if you want and you're ambitious, bring some cookies. You can bake them with the seller's permission at the home. You can certainly bring some other items that you may have for marketing materials with your own branding on them. And just takeaways that the potential buyer might take with them.
So you've obviously previewed the house before you got there, and you'll know, for example, it's vacant. So you might bring a chair along as well, so you're not just stuck standing there hanging out for 2 hours if there happens to be a lull in activity. But that would be another idea, is just to kind of be prepared for a break in the action where you might want to sit down.
So once you have gathered all the things you want to bring to your open house, here's some helpful tips before we get into some actual dialogue while you're at the open house. So obviously you want to dress professionally and make sure that you get there early. Jeff mentioned scheduling the showing, but making sure you're there early is just as important. The seller's going to expect you to be there more than just 1 minute before your open house. And it will always happen. If you have an open house, there will either be someone there early or someone that comes a little bit late. So expect to stay a little late too.
And your best prospects are likely to be the ones that are going to be there early or right on time. I love it when I see a car there before my open house, because I know they've seen it online, they're waiting to see this property, and they're probably not represented. So, get there 15 minutes before the open house. You can turn on lights, open blinds, put toilet seats down, stupid stuff like that, and get your materials out and be prepared to field customer.
And always, when you're walking the house and turning on the lights, always look for potential problems. You want to walk into every single room that a buyer may walk into or that an open house guest might walk into. You don't want to have an issue at your open house. I've actually gone to an open house prior to opening the doors and found water in the basement. And so we had to instantly cancel that open house, because you don't want buyers walking in when you have water in the basement. So be sure to walk the house.
A couple more tips. I always park in the street to leave the driveway available for people to come and go more easily. When you get there, not only did you share the post that Alex would have done, you could do a quick little video walkthrough or something, say, hey, come see me today. I'm at this great house. It's 250 in Overland Park or whatever it is. Just kind of create some buzz and use some social awareness that you're out in the field working. So another thing that bugs me is when the door's closed and it looks like it's not an open house, or the keys in the front door deadbolt. Don't leave the key to the house in the deadbolt. Take it, put it in your pocket. You wouldn't want to leave your valuables out on the counter either. So leave your purse in the car or your car keys in your pocket or somewhere where somebody's not going to just have an opportunity to pick those up and drive away with your car. So,
and leaving the door open is just more inviting. So if you have an opportunity to leave the front door open, or at least have the screen, the storm door closed, then it just makes it a much more inviting atmosphere.
Lastly, on just a safety tip, if you ever feel like something's not right, it probably isn't. So always go with your gut. Don't be afraid to say, you know what, there's been an emergency and I need to end this open house right now. And I'm sorry, but I need to ask you to leave. If somebody's creepy or just makes you feel off, your safety is the most important thing. So just shut it down and walk away, and don't take any chances. So moving on to just some dialogue. I mean, really the purpose of you being there is to prove that you can establish some value, and that the buyer will be better off working with you than they are on their own. So I'm usually super casual, shocker, I'm sure. But it's like, hey, thanks for coming by my open house. Feel free to take a look around. Let me know if you have any questions about anything, and introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jeff. But let them kind of do their thing and give them some space. The last thing they want to be is attacked by you or realtors. And when they're going door to door, it feels like everybody's just trying to capture you and capture your info. So give them some space and make them feel comfortable and explore the house.
And then with the comment cards, make sure you do offer them an opportunity to provide their feedback. And that's a real easy way to sort of get their information and to at least initiate some type of engagement with the potential clients. And you just hand them the clipboard and say, hey, my seller would love some feedback and they want to know that I'm doing my job. So if you wouldn't mind giving them a little bit of feedback, that'd be great. And you hand them a pen and you hand them the clipboard with the feedback card, and you make sure you ask for that if they did take it from you at the very end before they leave.
And I love to ask qualifying questions to kind of help me identify who I want to focus on. A lot of times you'll have multiple parties in the house at the same time, and you don't want to spend all your net time focused on the neighbor who's never going to be a transaction for you. So I always ask, hey, did you see this online, or did you happen to be in the neighborhood? Which kind of tells me, are they actively looking or just happen to stumble upon it? Do you live nearby? Have you been looking for a while or just getting started? All those kind of things will give you some information and ideas of whether they're a prospect you want to focus on, or they may say, oh yeah, I'm working with so-and-so and they told me to come by because they were busy today. Then it enables you to kind of focus on somebody else that might be a better opportunity.
And open-ended questions are great, obviously, to keep the dialogue going. So a lot of times after they've toured the home, I'll ask questions like, what was your favorite feature of the home? Or things more along the lines of their buying habits, or what type, where they're at in the cycle. So what is your time frame for buying a home? That way it's not a yes or no question or answer, and then they can open up and tell you, well, I'm looking for a home in a year or 6 months or 3 months. At least that gives you an idea of how serious they are.
So another thing I like to ask is, how does this house compare to others you've seen? Because it kind of opens the dialogue and gives them an opportunity to say, oh, I like it, but it's not my price range, or 3 bedrooms is great, but I need 4. And that'll kind of lead you to being able to present other options that might fit their needs better.
And then after the open house itself, we move on to follow-up, essentially. So once you've gathered those comment cards, and hopefully they've filled them out to the point where you have some contact information, it is key that anybody that showed interest, to make sure that you follow up with them as soon as you can. I do know some agents that will do it that evening. So if you did an open house from 1 to 3 on Sunday, make sure you're doing it at 4 or 5 in the evening on Sunday, but at the very least, do it Monday morning. And that's just either a quick email, maybe a text or phone call, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you sense that they're comfortable with. But follow-up is certainly key once you've identified you have a potential client.
And again, you've got to get their info. So if you give away 1,000 cards, and I would be surprised if the phone rang once. So we've got a couple other tools, especially for first timers. We've always got these in the house that just say, welcome. It's got a QR code to our home buyer guide, which is a way you can kind of show that you provide value. I always ask people, like, how did you find this house, or have you heard of that pre-MLS? Would you like to be notified of coming soon listings? Where are you searching for homes? I'd be happy to set you up on an auto email that'll instantly notify you instead of having the lag that may be up to a day before another platform might notify you of a new property. So use those things to your advantage to establish that you can provide value and better serve them than they can do on their own.
Well, we hope this helps, and we hope you get out there and start doing some open houses, because I know, and Jeff knows, that has led to lots of business in our careers. So we hope that this helps you get that done.
Yeah, good luck.